Joe presents Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby, together with Guinness.
Hello and you're very welcome to
Baz.
Hello and you're very welcome to Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby. Here on Joe, together with Guinness. Trimble.
Sorry, no, it's just that I've been doing that.
Obviously, I mean, go on.
And Guinness.
Trimble has been the host for the last few weeks while I've been away, so you're missing that role. You enjoyed it.
Yeah, but you were like, Pat, I'm coming back in for this episode and I'm picking up where I left off.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't think you gave it enough spunk. I enjoyed your presenting, but your initial Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby.
Funny, I always thought you were too fast-paced.
Yeah, I know. But I was always quite wary of that, but having heard your version of it, I was like...
Laboured, slow.
Yeah. You didn't even bother.
Oh, Baz and Andrew, here we go again. It doesn't get the listener or the viewer
like,
enthused.
Yeah, it has to be familiar as well. Like, they need to, I remember this now.
Oh yeah, I remember who's this guy?
Yeah. But, you did your own thing, and I really enjoyed it. I must say, I missed being here, but I loved listening to you and Jenny while I was away.
I would have loved it if you had have written some poor reviews on the podcast app.
Under an alias or just myself?
Just yourself.
Just yourself, yeah.
Just come clean.
Boo. Just booing.
So I imagine this is how Carberry feels whenever Sexton, I've got a sore head.
He wants to go.
I need to go to Canada for 2 weeks. Carberry steps up.
We're playing Italy.
Smashes it out of the park.
Yeah.
And then
Sexton was only Italy.
Sexton swaggers back into the studio. I'll take it from here, Joey. Move over to onto the other sofa.
Side, yeah, I'm staring down the big camera.
Have you ever been on this sofa?
No.
You've no idea.
No.
No idea what it's like. Spend time on this sofa.
Your voice is going a little bit
it's
like this.
It's grand.
Well, what I must say, my favourite part of the show while I was away was you talking about getting fined and being that secret David Humphreys Twitter account. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
How have I never heard that?
Yeah.
Enjoyable.
That was my little secret.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember more about it because it went on for ages and there was a whole big buzz about it, and every few days I was like, I've got a great idea. You know what I did to throw them off the scent? I slagged myself. Yeah, because I had a hand operation at the time, so that's why I had so much time to muck about setting up fake Twitter accounts. And I tweeted myself saying, a hand injury. You can't catch your pass with your left anyway. So don't worry about it.
That's so clever, man.
Yeah.
No one else would have copped that,
Yeah.
but you probably would have sniffed that out.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I got away with it for a while, and then eventually, again, David Humphreys' interrogation technique. It was you. It was you. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was probably my favourite, one of my favourite things in the show so far. Yeah,
really
wonderful.
Wow.
I think that galvanises a team when players start acting the maggot and doing stuff like that.
Yeah,
getting in trouble.
Slagging the coaches.
Or yeah, just messing, getting up to something anyway.
Yeah, up to mischief. There's some chat.
Yeah, I remember. I was never fined, but I almost got fined. Do you ever remember the Hardy Bucks? They're a TV show that these lads from Mayo made a few years ago that went to RTE, but originally they just did it on YouTube. They're just a bunch of lads over in Mayo in a small town called Castletown, I think it was called. And they just made this TV show, them sitting around in the streets drinking and smoking, but it was quite philosophical. They'd have all these lovely little rants about what's going on in the world at the moment, and they were hilarious. Some of the funniest stuff. You should look it up. I'll show you later. But Fla was obsessed with them, and he wanted them to come down to Munster and do a show, and it was going to be us teaching the Hardy Bucks how to play rugby. So he got them all down into the pitch in UL in the bowl, and these guys don't break character. They arrive down in vests and little trilby hats and just smoking fags and drinking cans and never played rugby in their lives, and we were trying to teach them, and they've got a couple of cameramen there, and they've got this guy that's in it called the Viper, and he's the local baddie, and he's always over in the distance. They're always like, fuck, I hate the Viper. He's over there looking at him, being reptilian-like, and he wears like a Cobra t-shirt, and he spits and stuff like that, and he's always trying to sell them dodgy weed, so Fla wanted them down, so they came down, and they wouldn't break character, so the Viper was up in the hill, so the bowl in UL.
Yeah.
So we're trying to plan this thing, and they're like, totally not getting out of character. They're not getting involved in the planning of anything, just being themselves. And the Viper was up in the hill, and we were like, "What about the Viper?" And they're like, "Oh, don't mind him. He's a brick. Don't mind him." So we've got like a table set up with protein powder and stuff, and we're trying to teach them how for nutritional stuff. And they're just drinking cans. One of them like takes a scoop of protein and tries to eat it. It's just powder coming out of his mouth. So the Viper descended from on high, and eventually he just walks into the group and starts offering us weed. He's got a little bag of weed, and he's like, "Here, do you want some creamy pollen high?" And he's like smoking some himself, and we're like, "No, we can't. Get away from us, man, whatever." And it was all very funny, hilarious, and we put a video out a couple of days later. I don't even know, Fla just stuck it up on YouTube, and the next morning we got a call off the CEO and Tony McGann, the coach, and Sean Payne, freaking out. So we're called down to the office, and I was kind of shitting it, like, what's going to happen here? We're going to get fined, we're going to get dropped. And two of us were sitting outside the office, and Fla got called in first, which was great, because I would have just crumbled and started apologising, but he just went in like and took over. And I could just hear them inside laughing because they were playing the video. And I think there was a few rugby players that may have been rumbled for taking some drugs around that time, internationally, like taking some Class A drugs. So he was making the point that what we were trying to do was show that rugby players don't want the drugs. We don't want recreational drugs. We're saying no to the weed. No weed. So he made them laugh, and he was like, I know other rugby players around the world may have taken some recreational drugs. Not here. We say no to weed. And they actually let us off getting fined, which was amazing. And they just made the video was taken down.
That's a real shame from their point of view, because that could have been quite lucrative. Rather than just finding me a one-off. There must have been how many of you were involved?
There was a good few. Like there was one brilliant scene with Tony Buckley, Mushy, where we had all of them trying to tackle him at one time, which was brilliant because they're all small enough fellas. One of them had a pair of golf shoes on with the little spikes, and he was trying to stamp at him, but Mushy just kept throwing him on the ground. And Wally was involved, and Dowling, I think, as well. So yeah, they could have made a fortune.
Yeah. You could have got away with no wages for a week.
Yeah. That video is out there somewhere. I'd love to see it. It's hilarious. So
let's get it up.
Yeah, we'll find it. At this point, we're all retired now, so it's grand.
Fla still involved.
Sure, look, we all know what he's like. He's a good crack.
He'll talk his way out of it again.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a good message.
So on that point, about getting in bother. Well, no, sorry. The point is fake Instagram or Twitter accounts. So we're expecting a call from Will Addison feeds Ducks today.
I've been following this very closely. Yeah. So he got on to me privately on Instagram as well. How did he
or she introduce himself?
A big fan of the show. And you're also a big fan of Will Addison. I have no idea what it's got to do with Ducks or...
He introduced himself to me. It was just a private message on Instagram. He just said, "Quack."
I think he might have said, "What's the quack?" at one point to me, which is great. And what did you say back? That was your first introduction to it? Like.
Yeah.
I actually thought it was Will Addison for a couple of days, and then I was like, no, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm led to believe... Well, Gilly drew our attention to it last week, and he thinks that most of the Ulster players think that it is an Ulster player.
Because he's got some in-jokes.
I think so. I haven't really looked into it too much, to be honest, but it is weird. Will Addison I don't know what the connection with Ducks is.
It's great. His photoshopping skills are
unbelievable.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he might be joining us on the phone. Pat has got his phone on the ready. If he calls, apologies, it mightn't sound the best because we're just going to stick the phone up to our microphone, but he said he would call. He said feeding time for the ducks is around 9:30 a.m. Monday morning, so we'll wait for him. And actually, on the photoshopping thing, it is photoshopping, it's not photo chopping.
It's shop, I think.
Shopping,
Yeah.
okay.
You've been calling it photoshopping
I just kind
your
of,
whole life.
I just skip over that middle part.
Photo.
I've never written it, so I never knew. But anyway, moving on swiftly from that, someone sent us this poster for any of you that can't see who are listening, or for those of you on YouTube, you get to see it. It's a poster of the White Walkers from Game of Thrones, because we did do a Game of Thrones feature a while back with rugby references, and it shows the Irish team as White Walkers on their way to win the World Cup, which is absolutely class. I think you hold that there.
Yeah, I'll just hold it like I'm a ring girl or something.
Yeah. And I will read the letter. Dear Baz and Andrew, I thought you guys might get a kick out of this. I've been loving the show and thought you might need some additional decor for the set. To be fair, that thing over there is a bit old. We could do it moving on. I have the pleasure of meeting you both, Andrew in New York, on that boat ride around Manhattan with the mad big fella with the bandana. Do you remember him?
Yeah, it's the perfect description. I don't remember his name, and I would have described him exactly the same way. He's like he's like Hulk Hogan. So
Like Hulk Hogan.
I'll just leave it there.
Okay, cool. This guy was the short guy from Cork trying to calm him down. And Barry in New York at the same Mad Fellas Cigar Club after the Munster night at NYAC. I was the short guy from Cork burning the ear off you. I'm pretty sure I fell asleep pissed drunk at that. So sorry, man, I don't remember you. But anyway, I made posters of a piece of my Christmas card to appeal to that massive Venn diagram segment of Irish rugby fans who are also Game of Thrones geeks. Enjoy the good work. Keep it up. Best, Kevin Fagan. That's brilliant. Fair play.
Yeah, I love a Venn diagram as well.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
I think we should reference Game of Thrones Irish rugby players more often.
Yeah.
I think we only went into it for like a minute before, but like the Lannisters being Leinster is...
The Lannisters.
The Lannisters makes me laugh so much.
Yeah.
Because it's so perfect.
Uh-huh.
Did we say that the Carney brothers were Cersei and Jamie kind of having the incestual affair? Because it's perfect.
Yeah. And did we say Sexton was Joffrey?
We didn't, but a friend of mine, Brian True, pointed that out to me afterwards.
Yeah.
And
Because he is, yeah.
he is.
He is from now on.
Oh, he's just like freaking out, killing everyone he wants. No, kill Stockdale, kill Murray, kill whoever. And you're like, Jesus, will you relax, Joffrey? You're giving me anxiety. And who else? Starks were Munster, obviously.
Yeah.
So honest and so loyal.
Sorry, no. I think we fell out over that last time.
Why?
I think Ulster. We were the Starks because we're up north.
No, you're the Wildlings.
No, I don't think so.
No one really knows what's going on up there. You're alone.
No, Rathlin Island. Rathlin Island is the Wildlings.
The Targaryens are, I think South African rugby are the Targaryens. They're all blonde and and beautiful. So they they live in the desert. It's all sunny.
Yeah.
Then obviously Connacht, I loved that they were the Iron.
Oh, the Iron Islands.
Iron Islands. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the Iron Islands. And then the White Walkers, the All Blacks, surely, wasn't it? They just come in and kill everyone.
Yeah, no, you're right. They're not Rathlin.
Who?
Rathlin. Wildlings, sorry. Wildlings and White Walkers. Sorry.
You're the Wildlings, man. No, you're the Wildlings. We're the honest. And I was thinking Joey Carberry's kind of like Jon Snow coming down. He's a bit of a bastard. Coming back from Leinster and coming down to us and going to be our hero. Anyway, we better move on, man. We have so much to get through.
Although your man referenced you spending some time in a cigar club in New York.
Apparently.
Yeah.
No recollection.
Really?
I remember seeing photos of me asleep on Peter Clossey's lap.
In a cigar club?
Yeah.
That's probably it.
That's it. I was bananas. Because we had a couple of heavy days, and the jet lag got to me.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah, you're mad. Like, you're a music guy.
Look at man, you know.
You got your moustache. You're just back from tour. And
yeah,
I'd say there's some mad stories from tours.
Oh, yeah, wild.
You had your van stolen and all.
I lost my Vans shoes. So anyone in Vans who wants to sponsor Baz and Andrews House of Rugby with a pair of vans, because we are representing them quite well, we would happily take them. We're not just in it for photoshopped posters, are we?
No, we can do better.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Jeans?
I would take some jeans. These are in their last legs.
Anything
Jeans,
else?
Vans, posters.
Hats? Scarves and headbands? Anyway.
That's
On
all we
today-
have time for.
On today's show, Ireland take on France this Sunday, and the nation still needs convincing that we're the same side that beat the All Blacks only 5 months ago, despite everyone thinking we're shite now, which is mad, because so many people have been saying that to me. A couple of players show Joe Schmidt what they can do in the Guinness Pro 14 as Leinster wrap up a home semi-final with 4 games to go. There is talk of a new World League, and we'll also answer some of your finest Twitter questions. But first, talking point number 1, Ireland versus France. Ireland were up in Belfast for a training session last week. Did you go lurking around after them? No?
No.
Nah, you're too cool for that.
No.
Good man. Yeah. We don't want to be those lads.
No.
No,
We're not
jeez.
those
We're not the
lads.
media.
No.
No.
Well, we are.
I thought that was the call.
We are investigative journalists, though. We're trying to find out who Will Addison Feedstock is.
Yes.
Stocks is.
Any, if you were to take a punt, who it might be?
Well, Gilroy suggested it might have been Jacob. There was another account set up, again, maybe the same tactic as I did before, about Jacob, and it's Jacob, like sandwiches or something. It's something like that. It's not exactly that. I can't remember exactly what
Someone
it is.
set up a Barry Murphy fan club on Bebo back
On
in the
Bebo?
day. Back in the day,
Is
right?
that how long you've been retired?
No, this is the start of my career, and they really made it look like I did it myself. Like, hey guys, here's a photo of me. Yeah, I think it might have been my brother. I don't know, but it looked so bad. It was
What
so
was in
well.
your flash box? Remember flash boxes?
No.
from Bebo?
I don't. I wonder, do I still have a Bebo account out there somewhere?
I think Bebo's dead and buried by now.
Look, we'll see. But yeah, so we'll get to the bottom of it if he calls. Please call us, man. Although this is later, so we won't hear this. So, a nation waiting for Ireland to kick back into gear. What do you think?
I think we'll come good. I think we'll be grand. We've got away with it so far. Like we haven't clicked that much, but still went to Rome, got 5 points. Got a win in Scotland, which has traditionally been very difficult. So we've gone okay. I just think the England game's just knocked a bit of confidence out of us, and just 1 or 2 passes aren't sticking, and we're just not quite clicking as we were. I think it'll come good. Do you not think it'll? I think it'll be great. I don't think there's any massive issues. And again, it's your classic. I know this is a bit of a cliche. You haven't become a bad side overnight.
I do think that
There's issues.
they haven't. No, I do think they're well capable of pulling off a performance against France that just blows the heads off everyone. We're back to where we were. Just need to maybe believe in ourselves a little bit more. Belief is a huge thing. I think that because they have started out and everyone's an expert now, especially in the Six Nations, we get something like 3 times the amount of people that watch a regular Pro 14 or European match will watch a Six Nations match, and they'll all have opinions on it, and then the microscope is on it, and everyone just starts freaking out. Whereas if we just take it for what it is, like I watched the Italy match after, like, the next day because we were on tour and I didn't see it. And I'd heard a lot on Twitter about how Sean Cronin had such a shit game and how he was hauled off and all this stuff. Then I watched it back and he actually had a good game. There was 3 lineouts that went down, and it was funny, something happened in the first 3 minutes. They had a line on the halfway line, Sean Cronin threw first line out, pinged it, perfect, we played off it. But while he was doing it, the commentators were talking over it and about a story or something, or, so they didn't realise.
So it never happened?
Never happened, so they didn't realise. Then 2 minutes later, after 4 or 5 minutes, Ireland have a line out in their own 22, and the commentators think it's the first line out of the game, but there's actually already been one. And they go, and then the camera's on Sean Cronin, and they decide to take the moment to go, oh, here's Sean Cronin, this is 700 cap for Ireland, but he's never started. I wonder why that is. And everyone's like, wow, I wonder why that is. And everyone's kind of going, he's under the microscope, and then they missed the line out, but it probably wasn't his fault. I think he actually threw it quite well, but there was a bit of a mix-up with the jump. And then everyone's like, oh shit, Sean Cronin's having a terrible
That
game.
they're like, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that kind of went on for the whole game. The commentators kind of go back, because I know they've got a tough job to be kind of entertaining, but everyone's kind of, we're so, our attention spans are so bad now with our phones and with everything that we're just kind of like, oh yeah, well he said it was bad, isn't it? And then everyone wants an opinion, so all of a sudden he's just taken off, which is probably Joe Schmidt's plan anyway, to give Scannell a game after 60 minutes, but he's hauled off.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's a terrible game, and that's the way we're kind of looking at the whole team at the moment.
I think it's whoever creates the first opinion, then that becomes difficult to kind of argue with. Then I think someone else says it, and then before you know it, there's half a dozen people have presented this opinion. Sean Cronin's had a bad game, and then that's the piece, or that's the way that's been interpreted, and it's not right. But it becomes easy then if Sean Cronin has like a kind of unremarkable game after that, like as in if he doesn't completely counteract that with line breaks, tries, everything, then that's the game that he's had.
Yeah.
But it's just an easy conclusion shot, and I love the idea of the commentators, like just that first line out, just going, closing their eyes, going la 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 la.
Do you know the way they do it in the first 2 minutes? They're talking about the weather. They're talking about being in Rome and their fans and all that.
And not one viewer can watch that and say, you know what? Let's bear in mind that Sean has actually nailed that first line out. No. If the commentators didn't talk about it, it didn't happen.
Terrible, man. Someone was down tying their lace, something, so the camera was on him for a while.
Yeah.
And they get this big long spiel about him. When moments like that happen, it just pisses me off.
Do you think that's why if a player does something class, makes a line break, makes a link, and then if there's a long break in play afterwards, it's like that. There's more time for replays. There's more time for chat from the commentators.
I heard someone say
strategically
go down injured after making like a steal a ball or make a big play. They'll go down, and then the camera swings.
They'll go to the co-commentator. He'll be waxing lyrical. He'll be saying, "This guy, look at him. He's putting his body on the line. He's done this. He's done that."
Yes, let's keep an eye out for that.
Yeah,
because it's definitely someone pointed out to me before about a few players, and I'm like, oh, it definitely happens. Clever. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'll give it to them. That's and even players who celebrate. To people, if you score a try and someone's like, oh, I gotta get there because I gotta be on the camera and be like, "Way!" It's like subconsciously planting into people's minds that, oh, he was there when the try was scored, so he must be good. Because that's how fair weather fans for the Six Nations as well as a lot of them. Yeah. So they'll just go, oh yeah, well they haven't seen Sean Cronin rip it up for Leinster for the whole season. Be probably one of the best players in the country all season, but then he goes out and he apparently has a bad game against Italy, and then he's just written off. Not that it matters what those people think.
Well, the other thing is that I think it does matter sometimes. Now, I don't think it matters with Joe Schmidt. I think he thinks objectively about things. He'll say, how did Sean Cronin, I know we're talking about Sean Cronin a lot here, and we're probably actually feeding into this. But we're defending him, but the fact that we're talking about him, defending that people are saying he did a bad game is true. But I think Joe would sit down with Sean or sit down and look at his game, and he'll not be listening to the commentators. He'll think, I obviously know infinitely more than the commentators are going to contribute, and he'll say, like, was he done well? Was he done badly? He'll analyse it completely objectively. He'll not get carried away. But I think there's a lot of coaches who are slightly weaker-willed, I suppose, or like I feel like they know rugby. They're maybe just slightly less confident in what Joe is presenting, and they maybe just know the game less well, and they're happy to take people's word for a little bit or public opinion.
You reckon?
I definitely think there's coaches out there who will be influenced by the media, influenced by supporters, spectators, other people's opinions.
Well, yeah, I definitely don't think Joe Schmidt is.
Joe won't be.
Yeah, he's not. I don't like when we look at what kind of team Ireland are going to put out against France. Don't think he's going to make too many changes to you.
No, he'll.
Or even the game plan, for that matter.
No, that's another one actually. That's after the England game. For the last few weeks, because we haven't blown a team away to kind of correct the England game. Everybody then is coming out. I kind of touched on this last week in the podcast. I don't know if you listened.
I did. I subscribed.
Yeah, and I just feel like then guys come out and they say, you know what? We've been saying it for a while now. we're not playing with enough width. We're not throwing the ball about enough.
Yeah.
And people are saying now that guys are getting injured because we're being too physical.
Yeah.
Did anybody watch the Wales England game? Those guys were just battering
each other
non-stop the whole game, and that was kind of heralded. I'm sorry, heralded.
Third time.
Doesn't matter. People were talking about that game as if it was just an incredible game of rugby, an absolute spectacle, and it was.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of physicality.
Yeah.
And that's the way Ireland play as well. When they're at their best, they win those collisions. And you can't just question that whole approach and concept just because...
One game.
Yeah, because England came out absolutely firing and took a few boys' heads off.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even like...
Heralded
saying we didn't... Fourth time. We wouldn't have... like, I think people were critical, and even Joe Schmidt was, about how we approached that English game, that we were a bit flat and so on, which I go back to it, I said at the time, I don't think we were overly flat. I think they were just really up for them. We played into their hands, and we attacked them in quite a narrow channel and just kept going at their big guys. Whereas if you take what Wales did, okay, they went hard at them, but they stretched them a bit, which we've always been quite good at, stretching teams. So we just need to tweak the game plan, and just maybe when it comes to France anyway, I think they're unfit. They can be caught late on, so I think we tire them. Keep the ball against them, because they did show some top class French rugby against Scotland last week with their offloading game. When that's clicking, they're unbelievable.
Yeah.
So if we keep the ball away from them, frustrate them, and tire them out and stretch them like we do all the time, then. But I do think we need to maybe throw a few more offloads, try and score. Like, we do need a bonus point.
We need a bonus point, obviously, but we need massive points differential now, don't we? Even kicking on, Pat, correct me if I'm wrong, we need a bonus point against France and a bonus point against Wales, and we need like 30 points or something.
Yeah, and then even then, England could finish on 20 points as well, so it still might not be enough.
Yeah.
Ireland can finish on 19 maximum. So
we need England to slip up as in not get a bonus.
Yeah.
In either of their two last games, Scotland and Italy at home.
Yeah.
So it's a massive long shot, really, isn't it? So at this stage, you're not even really realistically playing for a championship anymore. So you go out there and it's just about getting the confidence back.
Yeah.
After what England did to us in round one.
Reliving that for years.
Yeah.
We'll talk about reliving things. See the way I tied this together?
Nice.
So
you're a pro. I didn't do any of that.
No.
I linked nothing.
Join the dots. I'd like to talk to you about your experience playing against France. You've played quite a few. First ever Six Nations game was against France in 2006 at the Stade de France. Lost 43-31. Brilliant game, remember that. You scored Ireland's fourth try. Bit of knowledge from Pat here. You're the last player to score a fourth try against France in a game, and the first person to score a fourth try against France for Ireland since 1913. So Ireland haven't scored 4 tries against and beaten France since 1913.
Yeah.
And you were obviously the last one to score, but that was a loss.
Yeah.
Isn't that mad?
It's mad. I'm glad that stat's finally out there.
Yeah, even when Drico scored the hat trick.
Yeah, whatever, Drico.
Also, this is another one of your.
Yeah, Drico, over 100 years worth of history. Don't think so, Drico.
So this is up there with your All Blacks. You didn't even know this existed, did you?
No. No idea. The only reason I remember that day, not the only reason, but the context of that was I was on the bench. So I come off the bench for Tommy. Ireland were operating this blitz defence then, which was a little bit foreign. First play of the game, Tommy came up ahead and Cedric Haymans was playing out of his skin that day, and Tommy came up and kind of slipped, right? So that a couple of minutes in, slipped. Haymans went through maybe. Anyway, they scored. Not sure, it might have been Haymans, but Haymans was making line breaks left, right, and centre, so it probably was him. They went through and scored. Next thing, Tommy was like kind of black bolt, right? That, confidence kind of shook a little bit. That was the game Tommy got a 0 out of 10 from Neil Francis. 0 out of 10. And he was saying...
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, so he knew that Tommy knew that he obviously wasn't going to get a good rating, but he didn't expect a 0 out of 10.
0 out of
So he avoided the papers.
Harsh, so
And
cold, Neil Francis.
He avoided the papers, and then one of his mates texted him and said, "Hey, don't listen to that Neil Francis. He doesn't know what he's talking about." And he's like, "What do you mean?" So he looked it up, 0 out of 10.
0 out of 10.
So
That's class.
yeah, so I came on maybe 60 minutes in, and for me it was a good time to come on because Ireland were massively
Yeah,
down.
you came back massively.
And we came back, scored maybe two or three tries.
You definitely gave yourself the applaud after scoring that
You're
try.
right, I did, yeah.
You did, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So I was rooming with Tommy at the time, and we made our way back. And obviously he had 60 minutes of getting hockeyed, and I had 20 minutes of kind of running around having fun, scoring tries. And we got back to the room, and I was obviously disappointed that we lost, but it wasn't the end of the world for me.
Yeah, every cloud.
Yeah, every cloud. So it was an awkward one coming back to the room. Tommy was like raging the way things had gone, and I was there. Well, are you going out tonight, lad? You up for any crack tonight? And he was hating me, but I was just being too giddy. Yeah, but unlucky lad.
Sure, look, you got to take it when they come, My next favourite one was Draco's last game, 2014, beating them and winning the Six Nations title in... Is that Paris as well? Yeah. He scored a great try that night. After Murray made a little break with Draco and then offloaded that. Memories of that one? Very sweet. Remember that
That was amazing.
The missed kick in the last 5 minutes. They had a kick pretty much in front of the post, pulled it wide.
France did.
Yeah. Machino came off.
Police on as well.
He came on.
Woeful after midget.
Machino was kicking really
Is
well.
this 2014?
Yeah, you were. I'll give you a clue. You were there. He came on and he did a penalty with like 4 minutes to go, and he dragged it right at the post.
Don't remember that.
And then
What I remember was the second row, the Stade Francais second row, tried to link that pass that went forward right at the end.
Yeah. They scored in the corner.
No,
but it was forward
yes,
pass.
exactly. Yeah.
And they were going mental, like as if it wasn't a forward pass, but it was a very obvious forward pass.
It was the most obvious forward pass I've ever seen in all my years. Of forward passing.
Yeah, but that must have been sweet with Draco's last game, and
yeah, it was class.
Winning over there.
Absolute class, because it felt like I had a couple of bad experiences at Paris. I know we've just recounted two good ones. But I had a couple of gone over there and kind of played crap, personally, and we've been on the receiving end of a bit of a hockey once or twice. But that was one of those ones where we went over there and we've been playing really well that whole Six Nations, and France have been poor, but they saved their best performance. They were brilliant that day, and we had to be that good to beat them. Johnny got 2 tries that day as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was one of those days that I'll remember. And then I did an RT interview with Rog and Shaggy after the game, and I was like, because those two lads, a good bit older than me, I was as a youngster coming through, just all the way it is. You always want to impress your
youngster. You were in your 30s.
No, not then. Whenever they were playing.
Okay, right.
And I was coming through. I was a youngster, and you always want to impress your teammates.
Yeah.
And I never really did when they were playing because I was kind of crap for a wee while. And then I just remember being interviewed by Shaggy and Raj.
Oh, sorry, they've been interviewed by them.
Yeah, they were working for RTE.
Yeah.
I was like, this is class.
Yeah.
This is class.
I'm in the club.
Yeah, I'm in the club. The boys like me.
I have a good memory of that one as well. We were in Vancouver on tour around that time, St. Patrick's weekend. We were over there playing a festival and having the crack, and I need to precursor this story with the fact that the number 13, where I played my position, I loved that position so much. Like, it's just my favourite thing about rugby. I love the number 13. I love how, I love everything about it. It's the best position in my opinion. It's like no one wants to be a 12, but when you're a 13, you're like, you're a 13. I loved it. I know I played in the wing and stuff like that, but I love 13. So anyway, that was Draco's last game, and it was a lot of talk about the 13 or will we hang up the jersey and never have anyone else because it's so special and so on. So we went out on the Friday night, which was our St. Patrick's Day gig in Vancouver, played the gig, went out on the batter afterwards, and we got a lock-in a pub, stayed up all night, and then about 8 in the morning, your man at the pub was giving us breakfast, some pints, and we were drinking away. And the match was on at 10 a.m. over in Vancouver. So we were all going down the road to another Irish bar to watch the match. So we go to the Irish bar, and we were pretty well on it. Like, obviously, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, we haven't been to bed. And the match starts, and I'm with one of my best mates who lives over there, Owen Keaton, and I was like, do you know how much I love the number 13? And he was like, yeah. And I was thinking of getting like a little tattoo on my shoulder of like a number 13. And he was like, yeah, you should, man. I was like, yeah, I think I will. And then when the match started, I was like, if Ireland win, I'm going to get a 13 tattooed on my shoulder after the game. And he was like, brilliant, class. So then I started getting into the game and started getting really into it. And he started telling people in the pub, and it became like a bet then that if Ireland won, that I was going to get this tattoo. So we're like, it started getting quite funny. And then you won, and it was incredible. The crack was 90, and then we were like, right, let's get this tattoo. So it became then a thing like, this is what should happen now. You know, it's like, yes, this wasn't a bet anymore. It was like, yes, this is right now. Someone needs to get this tattooed. So we walked out the door, and I was like, there's not going to be a tattoo parlor anywhere. Like, there was a tattoo parlor right next door to the pub. So I'm like, fuck.
Like they were in on it.
Yes, it's like, fuck. So we go in there, and we're like, I was thinking again, a little tattoo, and we're pissed, so we're trying to hide the fact that we're drunk. And he didn't really care. We said we were hungover, and we hadn't gotten up, or we hadn't gone to bed yet, or we just gotten up or something. So we pick out a little 13, and he draws it on my shoulder, and then my mate's like, I think people are going to think this is for Brian O'Driscoll, because, you know, when you get tattoos, they're kind of blue. So he's like, you might think it's for Leinster. So he's like, you should get it in red, and you should get it like bigger, like as if it was your number. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, like get it like your fucking number. Like, you spent half your life with this number on your back, and now you don't have it anymore because you're retired. You should get this. And I was like, this is fair enough, yeah, good reasoning. So we pick out a number 13 that's kind of looks like the Munster Toyota 13, and I start getting it tattooed on my back. And after about a half an hour, I started kind of sobering up, and my mate was like so relentless. He was like, this is class. This is a really good idea. But then he just fucked off into the pub. So left me there in the pub, and started bringing people, or left me in the tattoo parlor, but started bringing people in and like giving me Jaeger bombs, and started getting, you know, people are coming in going, Jesus, you're actually getting this done. So I think about you, like, where were you at this point? This is probably like
This is after
2 hours after the game, maybe?
Yeah, we were back at the hotel, having the time of our lives.
Having the crack.
I was with James Nesbitt.
No way.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I was in a tattoo parlor in Vancouver getting a massive...
Sliding doors.
Could have been me. Damn, my injury. Oh, shit. Getting a massive 13 tattooed on my back, yeah. So I was thinking, if they win this weekend, maybe you could get a 23 on your back?
23. Was that planned? Was that like a last minute? I'm gonna go 23 and slag here.
Well, because it's on my back now, and it's very funny when anytime people see it, like they laugh a lot.
Yeah.
So it serves a purpose. But when I went to the pool for the first time in UL, where we used to train, like when I came back from the tour, the cleaner in UL, Jimmy is his name, he's hilarious, pure Limerick, and he spotted it, and I could just see he was bursting to say something. He said, what's the story with the 13 in your back? And I was like, yeah.
And it takes, like, that's a 15-minute long story
Yeah,
as well.
I just went, I
Leave it, Jimmy, would you?
Yeah. And he goes, I'd say something if you got a 22. So I was like, that's genius, man. So I've stolen that gag off him. But yeah, would you get a tattoo?
It'd be 14. I would get. I was like for 2014 as well as the 14.
Superb
Number on my back. Yeah, I'll get 14 on my back if Ireland win the Six Nations this year.
Great, perfect. Who'd be that stupid, right?
I'll get a nose ring if Ireland win the Six Nations.
Will you? There we go. One of us should.
No,
one of us should. Your final game ever also was in 2017, winning the Six Nations, and you replaced Rob Kearney. Were you conscious of that stage coming on at the end, enjoying those games a little bit more, knowing it was your last game?
Definitely didn't think it was my last game. I felt like I definitely had a little bit more in me. I just kept picking up knocks. I'd say I probably had another season in me if I hadn't kept picking up knocks, because I felt really good just before the Six Nations, and part of me was thinking, I'm gonna get back to my best here, and then hamstring injury, then a groin injury. You know what happened to me actually? I picked up a hamstring injury just before the Six Nations, 2000. When was that? 17.
Yeah.
And cheers, Pat. And I was just recovering from that, and it was only like a grade 1, so it was only a minor injury. And maybe 10 days later, I was nearly back. Felt like I could definitely get up to a bit of pace, maybe sprint. So nearly there. And my young fella, I was chatting to my wife in the kitchen. My young fella took off, and he was just walking. We assumed he was just walking around the house. I left the stair gate unlocked.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and next thing we just heard Jack bouncing down the stairs.
Oh God, that's terrible.
So I sprinted. This is how high he must have been, right at the top of the stairs.
Yeah.
Hit the other stair gate that was unnecessarily locked. And then obviously just decided, oh well, threw himself down the stairs in protest. And as I heard him falling, I sprinted and then just got to the bottom as he kind of clashed with the open stair gate, which saved him from the tiles. He was totally fine, weirdly, actually, totally fine, cried a wee bit. I picked him up, and then once it all settled down, I went, oh, my hamstring. And I
Did you cry?
Yeah, yeah.
Roach is crying.
Yeah. So that I genuinely think if that hamstring hadn't have gone again, and I could have got fitter for maybe the second game of Six Nations, I might have got in, got a bit of momentum, and got back again. Jack has taken a year from my career.
F you, Jack.
Yeah, Jack's going to his first game this weekend.
So
actually,
selfish. You're gonna push him down the stairs.
Yeah, push him down the stadium stairs.
Pretty steep in the Aviva, yeah. No, comes full circle. I actually can't believe we didn't score 4 tries in the World Cup match against France.
I know, because Pat wrote an article about this.
Yeah.
And he was saying how long ago it was that we'd scored 4 tries. But yeah, I couldn't believe it as well.
Yeah.
We hammered them.
Yeah.
Madigan crying his eyes out after 3 tries.
3 tries. I wonder did he look.
Maybe he was crying because he didn't get the bonus point.
Yeah. That would make more sense. A bit less embarrassing. God, I was at that game actually.
Sorry, Mads.
Sorry,
Ian
Madigan. But anything you think we can expect from France? Having played against them so many times,
You just don't know. You never know what you're going to get against them or with them. Because if anybody, I know we're suffering a little bit from a kind of bit of a knock to the confidence after that England game. But France should be feeling that as well. They've got a little bit of a shot in the arm from a big performance at home.
yeah, I thought they were good. Laurie is playing class, man.
Yeah.
What a player.
He's brilliant, isn't
Yeah, absolutely. He's just pure French kind of back rower.
Yeah.
Great player. Dupont as well. Very impressed with him against Scotland. And they've got it. Yeah, once they get quick ball and they're got a bit of momentum, they're hard to stop.
I do think we'll be okay though.
Yeah, I do too. I think we need to stretch them, as I said, and just go for it. Any changes? You think? You think you stick with Sexton and Murray?
I'd say so. Yeah, I'd say just like they're going okay. They're going okay, but it's just not quite. Just because, and not even 9 and 10. There's just 1 or 2 wee bits of the pattern kind of not just quite clicking, or not like it was in the autumn.
Yeah.
Or even last year.
Yeah.
And obviously those are the 2 guys who are catching and passing the ball the most often. Mm-hmm. So I'd say they're probably going to keep playing them and just get them back a little bit. They're obviously frustrated at the minute, but there's very, very fine margins. 1 or 2 of those go to hand, and
that's it.
And they'll get momentum, they'll get confidence from that, and they'll get gain lines, and then they'll get like Sean O'Brien, big ball carriers over the gain line again, and very, very thin margins.
Will they start CJ? It looks like he's going to be fit, which is unbelievable after an eye socket fracture or cheek fracture. Big. I think they'd go with him if he was fit.
Yeah,
being honest, and
probably,
just let him lump through work and what he does. And France will struggle to deal with him, I think. And then Shawnee off the bench if needs be. And
so, who would you play at 7 then? You play Josh?
Yeah, maybe.
Josh, is Levy anywhere near fit?
No, he's not going to be back now.
No.
Yeah. And we're not even. That's not even any particular order. They're all class.
Yeah, exactly.
me.
I think I'd be going as close to the starting team against England as possible. Personally, and midfield again is going to be a tough one. Is Ringrose back?
Yeah, should be.
Ringrose is back.
Is Henshaw fit?
Should be as well, yeah. We're being told they are anyway, yeah.
Would they go back to Henshaw at 15?
Probably not with how well Carney has done
Yeah.
over the last few weeks, and they've gotten the win. I think that might be a step too far because he hasn't played a lot of rugby, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, whatever way you go, I don't think there's going to be major surprises, but whatever one he decides, the midfield, I'd have full faith in any pairing, and even if he was to go at Henshaw full back, but I don't think he will. I think he'll go with Kearney. But anyway, starting 15s. Yeah, I'm not sure. It'll. Would you get Tadhg in there? Love to see someone robbing a lot more ball. We've been poor on the ground.
Yeah, but it's one thing doing it for Munster. It's another thing. A test match, I just don't think you get those opportunities. I know he's a freak. He is a complete freak. He would get. I'm sure you get one or two, but I mean, he's showing off for Munster.
Yeah,
just getting over the ball, any opportunity.
It's a hugely important part of the game. Turning over, slowing a team down, winning penalties, and I think with the lack of fitness France have. We've got plenty of line-out options. It's not like he's poor in the line-out. His ball carrying is excellent. I just think that is one thing we're missing at the moment, is someone that can really get in there and slow a team down. And he is arguably the best in the Northern Hemisphere at doing it.
Yeah.
Stick him in your team.
Yeah, so Quinn Roux and Alton both did well.
Yeah.
Would you put Hendy and Tadhg back in? Or put them, would you start them?
Yeah. I would.
Would you like to discuss it further?
No. Decision has been made.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, it's going to be a great week. Looking forward to it. We'll be in Sunday night straight afterwards to talk about it, actually, which is cool. I'm looking forward to that.
We'll all rugbyed out.
All right, stay with us, and we'll be right back with part 2.
But I heard great things about him at Sale, where they'd call the boys in literally after a loss on a Saturday, and he'd lock them in. They walk in the changing rooms thinking they were going to do 200s or something, and the room would just be full of piss. And he'd just close the door and bolt it, and literally padlock it and say, right, we don't leave until all this is drunk.
What boy?
And then on the Monday he'd flog.
You got to back it up.
He'd flog your guts out, and he's trying to find out what people's personalities are like, isn't it?
Okay, obviously that's James Haskell and Mike Tyndall there discussing teams being locked in a changing room with beer to help them bond when they were on a losing streak. Have you any experience with that? Teams playing with confidence, having lost their spark and so on. Have you ever been in a team environment where something needed to change?
Yeah, but it's hard to know what the solution has been. I remember one season with Ulster, and actually I don't even think this worked, but every week there was crisis talks, crisis meetings. What are we doing wrong? And someone would stand up and make this big emotional speech. I remember Pinar doing it once or twice, a couple other lads, and then you're soul searching every Monday morning. Things don't go well the weekend. You think, right, this is us now. Let's get back on the horse. Let's get things sorted out. And then the following Monday you're straight back there again. You do that 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row, and then you're just
wears you down, doesn't it?
It's exhausting, yeah. And then you're dreading, if you play on a Friday night, the weekend just seems like you're dreading just going in on Monday morning, and even that almost makes things worse sometimes.
Yeah,
I don't know. I know lads have played just gone in and said, right, train's cancelled, we're playing 5-a-side or whatever. But that's always counterintuitive. I think the coaches always think we need to train harder, we need to do more video, we need to kind of be more, I don't know, more rugby oriented or something. But I think that's counterintuitive. I think sometimes you just need a break from rugby, or a break from the intensity or the pressure you're putting on each other.
Yeah. I always think routine is obviously key for any rugby team, rugby player. So I found personally, anytime there was those breaks.
Call here. I don't know who this could be from.
Oh, brilliant. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, this could be...
This is fine, I was
Could
hitting
even
that
be
shot.
could even be the bank.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello, my name's Harry.
call it from Virgin Media.
Sorry, just as we're in the middle of recording something at the moment, so I can call you back a little bit.
Maybe Virgin Media are Will Addison feeds
See you
ducks.
then. Bye.
I thought for a second Pat was going to say, no, sorry, we're just expecting a call from an anonymous account. Will Addison feeds dogs. Have you heard of them? Never mind. We'll just get back to it.
We're definitely keeping that in the show.
This guy has stung us, hasn't he, Will Addison?
Yeah.
Could be a girl. Could be
Or
a
a
lady.
girl. She has
Could be
not-
Jenny.
Oh.
And scene.
Pesky Jenny. Trying to get back in here any way she can. I'm on to you, Jenny. Where are we talking about? So you were really down. You were playing crap.
Yeah.
And you couldn't get yourself back up.
Yeah.
Is that basically? And it was all your fault that Ulster were losing. So how did you deal with that?
I can't remember.
Were you a fan of sports psychologists?
Yes, but not team wide. I don't think that works. I don't think team sessions work really. I know we've done mindfulness and stuff with Ireland, and that's quite useful. But it's quite. I suppose it is a team. It's done team wide. Everybody does it together, but it is very much an individual thing as well. It's kind of led by someone like talking around, but it's quite. You spend that time doing whatever you want. Some guys would spend that visualizing. Some guys would spend that doing. Mindfulness is a bit of a buzz thing. I know it's not sports psychology, but it's all kind of linked. But yeah, I would have got a bit of value out of speaking to a sports psychologist. But all that process is being convinced or being tricked maybe into thinking you're better than you are, or thinking you're confident, or thinking more rationally, I suppose.
Yeah.
Is that how you found it?
Yeah, exactly. I think you'd find too many top players who play a game and think they're crap. For what it could be some of the reasons we pointed out earlier on, that external people watching the game or commentators or whatever have commented, and you kind of forget that that you're here for a reason. You're well able to play this game. Not only are you good enough, but you're a brilliant rugby player. You're playing at the top level. So exactly, yeah. So I remember Felix Jones used to be unreal at motivating himself. He'd watch videos of himself, like Dricko, I think, used to say that. He had a psychologist who told him that he should watch videos of him being class, basically, just to remind himself. And Felix used to make, especially when he was injured and stuff, to motivate himself. He was brilliant to be around all the time. Because, I get the idea of taking a break and playing a game of soccer or going on the pace and stuff like that, but I think that can be counterintuitive as well. I think I personally loved my routine. I loved training very hard, and it was difficult when you were injured, obviously, to stay involved. That's when I was probably at my lowest. But
but if you're losing, if you've lost 3-4 weeks in a row and you're doing the same routine, and if you continue that routine, then I don't know if things might change or something might click, but in your head you'd be thinking, I did this last week and it didn't work.
Yeah.
I did the week before and it didn't work. So that's why the routine I thought needed to be changed up a little bit.
Okay, well, I suppose not giving lads a complete break or a week off, or bashing lads or making them kill each other or whatever. I think that's more what I'm talking about, going to extremities just to give them a break.
Yeah.
I do think that from my point of view anyway, the strength we had in Munster was sticking at what we were good at. But I suppose I never really had that experience of going back-to-back losses for weeks on an end. So I can't really relate to it. We were too successful in Munster. No, anything like that.
Yeah. No, we went through a few of those patches.
That must be hard.
Last season was like a,
Yeah.
to be honest, long old season.
And is that,
To the point where I was kind of starting to be in and out a bit, and then kind of not really getting selected and stuff. And there was a few weekends when I wasn't getting selected, and I was going, I'm glad. Because I want a break, I want to get away, I want to do something different.
Really?
Yeah. But getting back to the sports psychologist thing, it was Andy McNulty. I met up with a few times, and some of the conversations I had with him, there's no rocket science. It's not really like like really creative stuff, not that innovative. You're just having a conversation about, here's half a dozen games where I played really well in the last 12 months. Here's a couple of big performances, and made me write them out and say, right, he called it my confidence resume, and I wrote them out in my just on my phone. And then on match day, I always would just look through. I always had this kind of imposter syndrome. I always thought, what am I doing here? I'm about to get found out. Everybody in the stadium is about to find out.
Really?
I've been getting lucky for years.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, it's all going to come to a head. So again, it's just that rational. Here's how good I am. It's not rational to think that I've been getting lucky week in, week out for this many years.
That's
obviously,
mad.
yeah,
You had that all the time.
yeah,
Throughout
but,
your career.
Yeah, and I addressed that by just trying to think more objectively, more rationally. Here's a couple of big performances. Here's what I'm capable of doing. There's no reason why I can't do that. I've ticked every box this week. I'm really well prepared. It's very likely I'm going to perform. Just remind yourself that, and it makes a big difference. It's quite a powerful tool. But again, individuals, it's different when the whole team isn't performing and there's a
Yeah, I
and a
suppose when
heaviness.
you could have like, okay, you want players to think that they're the best they can be, but then you could probably have egos that come into that, and
Yeah.
some people probably need to be taken down a little bit.
Yeah.
They could get inflated and think that they go too far in one direction, and they think, yeah, I'm the best, I'm better than everyone. They're all dragging their arse.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit like Joe's approach. I remember, I'm sure you might, well, no, sorry, you wouldn't have come across this. He does player profiles for opposition. And we would go through this early in the week, maybe on a Tuesday or something. And especially this weekend for the French, he'll go through the French profiles and he'll be taking all the highlight reels of every single player. You come out of that meeting and you think, oh my goodness, how are we ever going to beat them? They are class. It's almost the opposite. It's a motivator because you're all in it together. So we're like, how are we going to sort this out? We really need to knuckle down this week and get our heads right and train well and get things sorted because we need to be hitting our straps on Saturday to be able to win.
Right.
And it was the opposite, I suppose. Now, I know I'm kind of contradicting myself, but that was a moment you come out of that meeting, you went, oh, France are class.
Even you telling me that now, I'm like, oh God, that's terrifying.
Yeah, I know, but it makes you really concentrate and knuckle down and get into what you
And
have
then
to
when
do.
you get on top of them, you're like, okay, I've seen how good these lads are, and now all of a sudden I'm better than them.
Yeah.
So I must be even better than what I saw.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And you just catch Joe Smith's eye and he's like, yeah,
Gotcha.
I told you.
Mr. Miyagi.
Oh, that's great. Well, hopefully they can pull some of that Joe Schmidt stuff at the weekend, because they're going to be up against it with all the pressure that's mounted on top of them. But man, Errant. Hello there. We here at Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby want to just thank you all for listening to and watching Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby.
It's unthinkable to me that you may not be already subscribing, so wrong that right and do it now, why don't you? Just press the old subscribe button and let us know what you'd like to listen to. Any of the conversations that haven't tickled your fancy, just tell us and we'll stop talking about them.
We like to see ourselves as a community here, or a family, if you will, like Cousin Barry and creepy Uncle Andrew.
Uncle Andy.
So we love to hear what exactly it is that makes you listen to Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby.
I actually forgotten what I was going to say. You're not already subscribing. Because it's for the life of me, I just... I've got no chance. I'll never do this. Right, it's getting awkward now, so
That'll be the one that breaks it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Some of our listeners and viewers enjoy the show, but are as yet unsubscribed. Selfish. Because there are a lot of people just like you who love the show but haven't had exposure to it yet. Help us help them.
For just one click or one comment every week, you can help many people subscribe to Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby. Thank you. Right, you're welcome back to the House of Rugby Roundup. IGTV, Instagram TV. What's that about?
That was a new thing we brought in last week.
Right.
In your absence.
Go on. I was wondering what you were talking about there.
Yeah, I've never used it before actually on Instagram, but I just got a link to it anyway. But it just it's basically just another video streaming, isn't it?
Like a longer version, yeah.
Okay, it can be done on Instagram. Watch on Instagram.
Yeah.
Cool. Hello, Instagram.
Hi Insta.
Okay, we start off with news of another live episode of Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby in Belfast. I'll let Trimby fill you in on the details.
Yeah, so it's the Monday after the Wales game. France game. It's next week.
Yeah.
Oh, we better get our act together.
Yeah.
Yeah, to the Empire, and it's gonna be very competitive to get tickets. So get your finger right.
Yeah, we'll be looking ahead to the Welsh game, obviously, and we've got a show coming up this Sunday in France, and we'll tell you all about it then as well. But yeah, looking forward to getting an old night out in Belfast.
Yeah, we'll show you the ropes.
Yeah, can't wait. Okay, well, the Pro 14 at the weekend. I suppose the biggest development was that Leinster beat the Cheetahs and have secured a home semi-final with 4 games to go.
The Lannisters.
The Lannisters,
swear.
yeah. It's almost like 2 different leagues at this point. It's just kind of Leinster doing their thing and everyone else is kind of
Yeah, and Austin Treviso and Edinburgh and Ulster won.
Damn you, Lannisters. It was a weird game. Liam Toland on Virgin Media, I think, was giving out quite a lot about the Cheetahs and how they were playing. They were just lashing the ball the length of the field or just kicking it aimlessly, and it was so boring to watch. And it was definitely an obvious tactic from them just to, I don't know what they were trying to do. There was no up and go and any kind of attacking spark from them. Was just, let's just kick the ball to them and try and keep them out, and it worked, to be fair, for a long time.
Yeah.
But Leinster just too strong, I thought.
I think that's the case quite a lot for South African sides. I just
kick the
think
ball.
not necessarily kick the ball, but just throw it about, or they don't. I don't think they would go on to the pitch with a really precise game plan. I think a little bit French, I suppose. Maybe it's because there's so much talent, so much quality in South Africa in terms of players, like a player pool, but they just go out and throw the ball about, or they kick it, or they do whatever comes into their heads, and they get away with quite a lot because there's so many talented players.
Yeah,
but not when you're in the RDS.
No, I think
against the Lannisters.
I was looking at them going, I think they're used to playing at altitude, so kicking the ball might go a lot farther or something like that. But their kicks were shite, and they were just Leinster were just eating them up and making yards. And Conor O'Brien was class again.
He's going well.
Yeah, strong buy. And
to get him on the show.
Yeah, I'd love to get him on. And see what he's made of. Rory Loughlin scored a class try as well. Fergus McFadden got absolutely busted by one of their props, which should most definitely have been a red card. Right? Yeah. It was insane.
What was it? A yellow?
Yeah. And they actually went and looked at it, because I think Rhys Ruddock was like, "Can you please look at that again?" And they went and looked. It was Nigel Owens as well, so I thought he might have gone it was like a rugby. It was like in wrestling where someone throws somebody against the ropes and they're coming back and they just jump into them. And he's massive as well. So, but look, McFadden was
Ferg's only back recently, isn't he?
Yeah, and he was fine, to be fair. Like, he got up, tough bit of stuff. But yeah, it's great to see Leinster advance. It's great to see them advancing so early. The Lannisters, Munster.
Now they've got their home semi-final place booked. Now they can concentrate on the quarterfinal against Ulster. In a few weeks' time.
Lucky. Munster, the Starks slipped up away from home, lost 10-6 to Scarlets. It was like the Red Wedding. Bushstabbins. Big talking point. John Cloyne was stabbed in the belly. His try was ruled out because Reece Marshall was deemed to be offside and obstructing, which I thought was absolute horse crap.
Oh, you would, wouldn't you?
I would, yeah. First of all, it was a maul. It was a maul, a rolling maul.
It's a maul.
And he was still holding on to him. Okay, he went to his knees, but does that mean the maul is over if he goes to his knees?
The ref said so, yeah. And
I don't think that was a rule.
it's just slow motion makes it look really bad. I thought it was a bit harsh that it was ruled out as well.
When they broke apart, he let go of him, and Marshall didn't grab the Scarlet's 9. He just kind of was just hit him with his shoulder a little bit and then got out of the way, but your man played a blinder and faking it like.
Big spin.
But they should have got a try there. But apart from that, I thought
I think you're using your red tinted glasses
yeah.
in your analysis there with your big red 13 on your back.
Yeah. Till I die, man. They played well. I'll be fair to them. They were very unlucky. Some good
That's not a good
performances.
result for Ulster.
No, it's not.
No.
Yeah, they pulled away from them a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought Munster got a lot of things ironed out. Like their latching going into tackles was impressive. Set piece was good. Brought some variety to the game, despite being terrible conditions. And yeah, they'll be disappointed with the loss. They could have taken a couple of kicks as well, close to the end, that might have gotten them over the line, but not to be. Connacht had a huge win. Very impressive. No, Ospreys were useless.
They're struggling, aren't they, Ospreys?
Yeah, they looked. They're probably going through now what you were talking about, like how you get a team like that.
Crisis talks this morning.
Were they?
No, they will be. They'll be in a crisis
sorry.
meeting. Yeah, were they? I don't know.
Yeah, they just looked like they've no interest.
Yeah.
And I find that so hard to watch. Again, not having ever played in an environment like that where there's lads dragging their arse, you just would never have gotten away with it back in the day with us. It was one player dragged their hole, they'd be opened, and you just. So I
It's
think
weird, isn't it? It's weird how the Welsh teams are all, well, obviously Scarlets had a win, but the Welsh teams are all struggling generally at the minute, and then Wales are maybe about to win a Grand Slam.
Yeah.
It's
Weird. You wonder what's going on inside. Yeah, whether are they actually not good enough, or is it an attitude problem? Because
but
I certainly look. I was thinking the other day, going, I could throw a ton of AIL players on that Ospreys pitch that would make more of an effort than some of those players.
Yeah, when you don't have George North, when you don't have Alan Wynne, those guys, they're probably not necessarily the impact that they would make, but probably just the influence that they would have on the preparation or the accountability, or I don't know.
Yeah. No, I'm not taking anything away from Connacht. They played class. Great to see Marmion back.
Going well.
Yeah, very well. Scored scored 2 tries. Scored 1 anyway. 2, yeah. And just brings a good energy, like, and just busy and quick ball constantly and making right decisions. Tom Farrell was brilliant again. Serious player. I'd love to see him getting a dart at some point.
Unrewarding for him, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's been class all season, absolutely class, but still
Down the pecking order.
Still, yeah.
Yeah. It's another cliche, isn't it?
It's a cliche for a reason.
Yeah.
Cliche.
Ulster. I quite enjoyed that game.
Yeah. I thought they played really well.
I've enjoyed every game they've played this season, to be
Yeah,
fair.
I thought they went really well. Now, Dragons were struggling a little bit. They obviously got hammered by Treviso last weekend as well. Eric O'Sullivan is on fire, isn't he?
Yeah.
He is class.
Yeah.
And in all areas, carries the ball well, scrummages well, tips on, links really well.
Yeah, I was delighted they gave him man of the match, to
Yeah.
be honest. It was because it was a quick game and there was a lot of, McCluskey played well.
Yeah, he always does.
What's the blondie winger's name?
Robbie Little.
Yeah, he's class.
Yeah.
God, he's got some step, man.
Yeah.
But Cooney went well, Jordy Murphy went well. They're
And toward the try, the bonus point try that Ulster got,
yeah.
was very much because I think they had 2 guys in the bin at the time.
They
so
did,
they thought,
yeah.
right, let's go kind of zigzag pattern or just keep it tight because that's the area we can get on top of them. And I just looked, they had taken off Cooney, taken off Rob Herring. So they lost a little bit of experience, but
Shanahan came on.
Shanahan went really well.
Brilliant.
John Andrew came on and went really well. Al Connor went off shortly after that, actually, but I think he was still on at the time. So they lost a little bit of experience, but they still looked really streetwise. They were kind of making good decisions, and they just held on to the ball. It was almost Ireland-esque.
It was.
How they scored that try.
Really impressive. That's a
Yeah.
huge try, like, to get the bonus point with 13 men, and obviously every point for them, it probably will come down to a point.
Yeah.
or
So they've got Southern Kings next, and then they've got a really tough run in. But Edinburgh have a tough run in, and so they've Treviso.
Yeah, they've
So-
Edinburgh, Glasgow, and Leinster.
That's right.
think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Edinburgh, Glasgow, both away.
Treviso of Munster, Leinster, Ulster, potentially Glasgow as well. I think.
Connacht, no.
Is it Connacht? Sorry, they do. You're right.
Yeah.
I think they're going to Connacht. Like I'd
Yeah.
like to think. I think that's next weekend. I'd like to see Connacht will beat them. I think Munster will beat them. So
Yeah.
they also just need to keep their current form. Big
Yeah.
win next weekend. I think. Are they home to Southern Kings?
Yeah.
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 Big win there, and I think that will kick them on
Yeah.
majorly. Also, Jack McGrath linked to move up to Ulster. That
Yeah.
broke last
So
week.
It's Ulster probably going, like, we signed Jack McGrath, but Eric Sullivan's playing out of his skin.
Yeah.
Probably going, it's not ideal from an Ulster point of view, but obviously,
Look.
I know it's brilliant. They're going to have serious quality.
Yeah, really nice biltong as well.
Yeah, delicious biltong. That's what they've signed him
Man,
for.
Is it?
That's part of the deal.
You're welcome. We broke it here. You heard it here first.
We
like.
broke the news.
Yeah. I think it's a great move. Obviously, he's been leapfrogged.
Is
by-
it? It's not confirmed, is it?
No, hasn't been, but it's strong rumours.
Yeah.
We're not
Oh,
gonna break it
leapfrog
here.
by Dave Kilcoyne.
Yeah, he's been leapfrogged by. Dave
Who's been going
Kilcoyne.
for it really well, to be fair.
Yeah. No, I think they're neck and neck, but Kilcoyne is playing well. He's explosive. He's been brilliant for Munster. So yeah, we'll see. Interesting move for Jack. And it's great to see players been. I think it's brilliant to see players been moved around. If you see how well Cooney has done and how well Carberry's done, and even Jordy Murphy. Love seeing him play for us. So he just
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Just rescue dogs, left, right, and centre.
Yeah. Jack McGrath, like a little bulldog, going up to Ulster. And finally, the 12-team World League proposals. World Rugby getting a lot of flack from Guinness Six Nations. Getting a lot of flack from certain players like Sexton, Farrell, Reid came out and criticised them for it.
For different reasons, so they're getting a hard time from them because of the workload, but then they're getting a hard time from Pacific Island representatives, just saying they've just been marginalised.
Yeah.
Obviously, because there's not a big enough market there.
Mm-hmm.
It's the business, the reason that they're not including them. But then World Rugby came out and said, no, we were going to include them.
Yeah.
Really? If you hadn't got this backlash?
Yeah. Well, that's fine if they can tweak it and guess.
Yeah,
I think
it was only because it was leaked. If they'd come out and said, here's the structure, here's what we're doing, then they probably couldn't have backed down. But because it was leaked, they would have said, oh, no, that's
Yeah.
whoa.
We were missing a page.
Yeah.
But I think it's a great move if they can keep everyone happy, and obviously the players not playing too many games,
Yeah,
taken from their club game.
It'd be a cool competition, but it's just as long as it works and the lads are feeling like they're up to it, like they're physically capable of kind of,
Toughen up, will you?
Yeah.
Jeez, if I could only be playing again, huh?
I'd hate to be playing.
Okay, well, we also asked you for your Guinness Made of More Player of the Weekend, and here were your nominees, written very small by Pat, which say Marmion and Tom Farrell at Connacht, John Cooney and Max Deegan. Max Deegan had a great game, put in some huge hits. But the winner is Marmion.
Eric O'Sullivan.
Yeah, I was getting some abuse. The House of Rugby Twitter account was getting some abuse last night for that because Eric O'Sullivan wasn't there.
Yeah, that makes me concerned about the Belfast live show, that there's not enough Belfast to represent.
No, the abuse that we got shows that the
Yeah,
actually
but-
are.
John Cooney got
sorry,
suggested.
they don't create the shortlist. You create the shortlist.
Oh yeah.
Ah, right, yeah, fine.
Yeah,
of
so there was
course.
an absolute horde of Ulster fans out there
That's fair enough, Pat.
giving me.
Pat, I'm a
abuse.
big fan of
The
your work, but
Wildlings.
not on this occasion.
Wildlings
I
kicking up
said
stink.
I tried to rescue it by saying he was good too. And they just still
That didn't work, no.
kept grief, yeah.
It doesn't, as you said, it doesn't really matter, does it? They don't get
Who
anything.
cares?
They don't get
Again,
anything.
we're going to remodel the whole thing.
Yeah.
Just haven't thought about how you're going to do it yet. But
Yeah.
Keep
So
running.
we keep saying
keep
that.
running it down every week. But then,
Yeah. So who got it in the end?
Marmion.
Ah,
He'd be delighted.
Fievel.
go on, Fievel.
Did you call him Fievel last week?
No.
No.
We're just doing it now behind his back.
Yeah. Best kind of way. Trimble used to call him Fievel from the American Tale.
Everybody called him that.
Behind his back. Which we found out after the show last week, or a few weeks ago.
Yes.
David O'Doherty's father wrote the musical score for that movie.
I know.
And it was the first song I ever learned on the piano was Somewhere Out There.
I brought it up thinking, oh, this is going to be one of those ones where I have to explain. It'll be long-winded. And I said, have you ever seen An American Tale? Is that what it's called?
American Tale.
An American Tale. And you both had like really strong links to it. Yeah, my dad wrote the music. What?
That was great. I actually preferred the second one, Fievel Goes West, when he goes to the...
I didn't know there was a sequel.
Oh, it's great. He goes to... like
The Empire Strikes Back.
Kieran Marmion, and there's a big fat cat in it who will be... I don't know. Someone large.
Is that the one where he's getting fed lots of fruit and stuff by like all these little mice?
Yeah.
I have seen that actually.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Okay, we put out a shout for your Twitter questions using the hashtag AskHOR, and here are some of your best ones. Actually, we're run out of time, so I'm just going to pick one. Dr. John Cannon, Superheroes 15, ? The Flash on the wing, Wolverine at open side, Iron Man a fullback, great under a high ball. Are you a fan of superhero films?
Yeah.
So just give it to Superman, like, and he... What's the
Anywhere.
point? Anyone else in the team?
I mean, the Flash in the wing, but the Flash, anywhere you put him in the pack, he'll be grand. Any of these superheroes will perform admirably.
Yeah.
In any position.
Superman surely would just it's pointless even having the game if he's playing.
They're just all utility players.
Yeah.
Who are going to make a big impact.
Yeah.
Superman's got a big future.
He does.
All these players, if they were...
I doubt he lacks any confidence ever. Do you think he needs to go to sports psychology?
Do you think he had to see Andy McNulty and create a confidence resume?
Oh, come on, Superman. Sure, you can fly.
My pace is letting me down, though.
Sure, the fastest thing, you're faster than a speeding bullet.
I know, but I keep dropping balls.
No, but sure, you
do, to be fair.
But you can freeze time and just catch them.
Can he?
He can kind of go so fast that everything looks like he'd go stop the world from spinning. Yeah, and everything stops. So when a ball is going over for a conversion,
but that, to be fair,
last minute he can just stop the world.
I know, but Superman, he only does that. Like that's a one-off. That's a special occasion.
Look, you're Superman. I'm just trying to convince you, man. You've got to believe in yourself. Who's your who was your kryptonite when you were playing?
Aled Brew.
Was he?
Yeah.
Go away for the Dragons or Scarlets.
Yeah. No, the one at Bath. Sorry.
There was two brothers, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Aled and
the one at Bath, I think it was.
Yeah.
I played against him for Ireland under 21s. It was back then, and I kind of approached him. He went back to pick up a ball, and I went at him. I thought I'm going to smack him here, and I went hard at him. He got up from a standing start and just bumped me, and I ended up on my back. I was like, oh my goodness, so powerful.
Go away.
Yeah, so powerful.
Yeah.
And then I played against him a couple of times, and I've always had that in my head. I'm like, oh man.
There you are, being weak again.
Yeah, being mentally fragile.
Yeah. On that note, it's great to be back.
I know.
Yeah, loving it. Right, everybody. Thank you very much for your comments, questions, for listening on all your favourite apps, and for watching us on the YouTubes. A big, big thank you to everyone that was involved in making this show this week. This has been Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby on Joe, together with Guinness. Party on, Trim and Vans. See you next week.